Next up, we have recreation and conservation. And as a reminder to folks, the expo is happening next door for one-to-one conversation. If you need to grab a cocktail, you can head over to Copper. We should have appetizers and drinks out in the lobby and contact sheets as well. And first up is Whitney Montgomery with the Big Sky Community Organization, a nonprofit which was established in 1998 and is governed by a board of 13 directors. Big Sky Community Organization is a nonprofit dedicated to facilitating year-round recreational programs, outdoor spaces, and community partnerships that serve all of Big Sky, enhancing access and quality of life for everyone that lives, works, and plays here.
Thank you, Danny. And how does one follow the stage master of John Zirkle? Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway, thanks everybody for being here. The Big Sky Community Organization, known affectionately as BSCO, has been hard at work to further develop our services to the Big Sky community through providing recreational opportunities and enrichment programs. BASE, which all of y'all have seen go up over the last couple of years, will be the year-round 26,000 square foot indoor facility in which will be in place for the community to gather, to recreate, to learn new skills from athletic pursuits to different types of arts, like Brian mentioned with the Arts Council, or to simply visit with one another. BASE is an acronym that stands for Big Adventure, Safe Environment. BASE will be in place to build community for all of us to use. Well over $20 million was raised for the community for this amazing new asset. The rising cost of materials, delays, and increased labor costs will not surprise anyone. We're falling a bit short of our original budget, so there'll be more to that in the future. But we are targeting a grand opening in March. There will be a membership fee structure, so everyone knows, and it's designed to be affordable for all with access to financial aid for those who need it. Our goal is for BASE to be accessible to the entire community. In addition to gathering spaces, BASE will have an indoor gymnasium with full-length basketball court plus 2 cross courts for maximum play. The gym will also be striped for the ever-growing pickleball scene here in Big Sky, volleyball, and other sports. There also will be an unbelievable climbing and bouldering wall in the facility. It's almost through. If you go peek in the window, the next couple of days you'll see it before it's covered up for the rest of the construction phase. It's really exciting. There'll be a fitness and strength equipment plus fitness classes led by a fitness and wellness manager. There'll be space for behavioral health counseling, public meeting spaces with a catering kitchen attached. There'll also be lots of hangout spaces for mahjong, a game I'm yet to learn, ping pong games, or simply visiting both indoors and outdoors. And in Lynn Hill Park, there's a new and improved ice rink. In addition to completing BASE, BSCO is focused on increasing our program.
I got you.
Thanks, dude.
Adjunct. There you go.
Yeah, so programming is a huge part of what BSCO does. So from Camp Big Sky to a new after-school enrichment program to Glide Big Sky and softball, our team is ramping up to grow all types of programs, both inside BASE and outside in the community park, at historic Quail Ranch, or on our many trails. Programs are being developed for all ages and all abilities. We're also underway in growing Big Sky spaces for recreational athletic programs such as soccer, adding versatility to our fields for baseball as well as softball, resurfacing the tennis courts to meet the higher demand for tennis and pickleball, while also enlarging the skate park and pump track. If you visited the community park this spring or summer, you would see how well used these resources are. And we will need more open space to meet the growing community's needs for recreational athletic playing fields. And finally, BSL continues to focus on connectivity around town for pedestrian and bike trails. By working in coordination with landowners, our Parks and Trails team has many exciting new projects underway. There are plans for additional trails coming online over the next 12 months for hiking, mountain biking, and cross-country skiing. This would not be possible without partnership with landowners granting easements, so thank you very much to all of them. This year, we're on track to have 600,000 user visits on our trails and in our parks. 2 years ago, that was 470,000. Last year was 540,000, and this year will be 600,000. That's pretty remarkable how this town supports that much recreation. We appreciate the great support from BizRat, from the philanthropic community, and from the local donors who ensure we remain strong in our efforts to serve our community. Please stop by our table in the expo area to learn more about BASE, our growing programs, or to sign up for a tour of base, or just to simply say hello. Thank you all very much. It's great to be a part of this community.
Thank you, Whitney. Thanks for all BSEO is doing to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have Ryan Blechta with the Big Sky Skating and Hockey Association, a nonprofit that was established in 2010 that is governed by a board of 10 directors. The Big Sky Skating and Hockey Association is a Montana nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide programming and venues for the public ice rink use in the community. Turn it over to Ryan.
All right, thanks, Danny. So BSSHA, which stands for Big Sky Skating Hockey Organization, our mission is to provide a facility, equipment, and programming to educate the public regarding ice skating, hockey, curling, broomball, and sportsmanship. We create quality and affordable recreation opportunities to all community members, including disciplined, competitive, and recreational hockey for adults and children. Better together. In 11 years, we have gone from a group with no assets or a rink location, and through committed volunteers and a combination of public, private, and foundation funding, we have accumulated over $500,000 of equipment and infrastructure needed to have a first-class ice rink with related programming.
I got you.
Oh, thanks. Affordability. Making ice programming more affordable for people who live and work in Big Sky. Almost from the beginning, we have obtained funding which has enabled us to acquire and maintain a large inventory of skates and hockey equipment to be provided at a nominal charge to resident children who participate in our youth programs. We also make our rink affordable and available for open skate at no charge. Increased availability. Our entity has become a catalyst for the development of a first-class outdoor ice arena in Big Sky with related programming, which is efficiently run and affordably to be used. Sorry. Anyone who drives by our rink most evenings will see that we create a lot of activity in the town center. In the next year, we are developing a working relationship with BSEO and continue to improve and grow our facilities and programming throughout the next year. And if you guys have any questions, we have a booth set up. Joe's back there answering questions. We will be having kid sign-ups here in the next couple weeks, and we'll have some communication going on for that. Thanks.
Next up, we have Jesse Lapel with the Big Sky Ski Education Foundation, a nonprofit established in 2010, governed by a board of directors of 10. Big Sky Ski Education Foundation believes sports builds a child's character and confidence and is expertly devoted to technical skill building. But perhaps more importantly, BSSEF celebrates a larger mission of helping each athlete find their unique potential as a competitor and a leader through discipline, mental toughness, commitment, contribution, sportsmanship, grit, fun, and teamwork. With that, I will turn it over to Jess.
Thank you. We have many sources of funding. Most of them come from our events. We host many events throughout the year. Our golf tournament is new. This is our second year this year that we hosted it. We also do an annual fireworks stand that's been going on for a while, and we wanted to thank the community for all the support this past year with the fires and just supporting our stand even though we couldn't open it. We also have our annual skee ball, the turkey trot on Thanksgiving, a 5K, and then we host a couple movie premieres, one in Bozeman, usually one in Big Sky. We also have team sponsors that give us funding, and many of our local foundations like Spanish Peaks Community Foundation, Moonlight Club Community Foundation, and the YCCF, as well as Big Sky Resort Tax. We offer many scholarships that are supported through our funding, and they allow us to give an opportunity to all the youth in the community to participate in our programs. So we offer a Lars Erickson program registration scholarship. So far we have given the scholarship to 50 athletes in our program this year. We also offer an equipment scholarship, an in-season travel scholarship, and then postseason qualifier scholarship. We also offer scholarships for our summer events, like summer camps. Here's our program growth. You can see that our freeride program has almost doubled in the past 2 years. Our Nordic program has almost tripled in the past 2 years. And our Alpine program has continued to increase. So we're very happy with that, and we want to thank the community for all the support. You guys can stop by our booth next door if you have questions.
Jesse, and thanks for all you're doing to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have Marnie Hayes with the Big Sky Sustainability Network Organization, a nonprofit established in 2021. It's not long ago. And a board of 6 directors. Big Sky Snow was formed with the goal of encouraging more community-wide sustainable practices in Big Sky, understanding the need for both the short-term and long-term attention to how we create a more sustainable, resilient, and livable community. With that, I'll turn it over to Marnie.
Awesome. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for having us here today to Resort Tags for this really awesome platform for all of us to be able to share what we're doing, especially for an organization that's been around for as long as Snow has been here. It's really nice for us to be able to come and see not only where we fit into the bigger picture of program work in the community, but also to share with all of you what we're doing. So we are new. We have a board of 7, including myself, Anya Bulis, Ruthie OLeary, Emily O'Connor, Patrick Miller, and Dylan Cressy. I figured I'd probably forget somebody, but that's all of us. And a staff of 2 contract employees with us now. Lizzie Payton, who, if you haven't had a chance to meet Lizzie, some of you probably know Lizzie. She's in the other room at our table giving out all kinds of good information. Lizzie has come on board as our community outreach manager, so she's the one really on the ground right now doing the good work of being the face for Snow, introducing our stewardship program, building the relationships with different organizations and community partners. And the other is Erin Bills. And Erin is new about within the last month. She was brought on board to help us draft and develop and implement our climate action plan. So really going through the hard work of helping us identify who needs to be at the table in those discussions, what are the projects, what are the resources, and how are we going to craft a plan that's attainable and achievable for the community of Big Sky. So the stewardship program. So this would probably be more traditionally called a membership program. It didn't feel right for us. We really wanted to build a better platform of stewardship, of community buy-in and engagement, setting up a platform that gave people the opportunity to invest in us and in our work, but also gave them a sense of sort of ownership of the sustainable projects that we're going to be talking about and working on. We have a handful of established partners in the community that we are weaving into this stewardship program. Obviously, BizRad has supported us, the community foundations, Weiss, Spanish Peaks, Moonlight. Many of the waste management composting companies have come on board to support what we're doing, obviously, and the HOAs. And really just kind of to help us shape these collaborative and really intentional programs around sustainability. So the short and long-term programs, we kind of are looking at this through the lens of what are the things we need to do today, now, and also what are the things in the long term that we need to do that are going to help us focus on how to be a more sustainable community. So the short-term sort of low-hanging fruit projects are the things like the waste management, the recycling, the composting, things like that, things we're calling consumption reduction, trying to do away with single-use plastics. A lot of it is community awareness and education as well, to sort of meet people where they are and help them understand how to be more engaged themselves. Zero waste is another short term, sounds like exactly what it is. We're trying to create events that create as little waste going to the landfill as possible. We worked on that this summer. Longer term, again, I mentioned the climate action plan. It's in the very early stages, again, trying to identify the stakeholders, the partners, the resources, and for how we address these issues going forward. Our greenhouse gas emissions report, which was recently released, is sort of the good platform and benchmark to let us know where we need to improve and how we're measuring our carbon emissions. Leveraging our resources, the last slide. This just really sort of tells you what we're looking at and how we're building partnerships. Obviously, I mentioned CAP. There are a lot of resources out there that we need to take advantage of and some that we need to develop ourselves. Some of these on the board are just going to tell you the things that we've looked at. Mountain Ideal is a sustainability destination certification that was sort of an initial impetus for us to look at different things that we needed to consider and really tailor to this community. Ikely is actually an acronym in German, I believe, so I don't even know what it stands for, but it's essentially Local Governments for Sustainability, and we've been engaged with them and are members of that organization. And Mountain Towns 2030, a mountain collective of folks who are really looking at aggressive ways to cut carbon emissions down to net zero by 2030. So all these are our resources, also looking at ways to partner with different communities, the counties, the state, and people who have done this work before us, who we can learn from. So lots of ways to be involved. Go talk to Lizzie, check out our website, bigskysnow.org, and thank you.
Thanks, Marnie, and thanks for all that Snow is doing to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have Meg OLeary with the Big Sky Trails, Recreation and Parks District, a local government special purpose district established in 2011, governed by a board of 5 directors. The Big Sky Parks District serves the greater Big Sky area by providing opportunities for recreational, community, and personal enrichment, while preserving and protecting open spaces and a multi-use trail system. With that, I'll turn it over to Meg.
Thank you, Danny. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be here. The Big Sky Park District was established in 2012 in both Madison and Gallatin County, and those boundaries are also part of the Meadow and Mountain Village, where we all play. We all recreate in this area, and the recreational opportunities are exceptional. And we all know that during the pandemic, we were in a place where we could get outside and enjoy the surroundings, unlike a lot of our other friends and family that had to be inside. The park district boundaries generally resemble the boundaries of the Big Sky Resort Area District. There are 5 board members, and those members represent the district geographically. An interlocal agreement was signed in 2012 by the commissioners from Gallatin and Madison County, and what happened with that interlocal agreement was the district was established and the responsibilities for the district were defined. The interlocal agreement is now going to expire in February of 2022. And the board is working diligently with both commissions to get that interlocal agreement ratified and updated. Additionally, the board is seeking consistent and long-term funding sources that would replace the annual requests from the Big Sky Resort Area District. That then would leave space for the Park District to request funds for new projects, to improve the current assets, and to think about long-term strategic growth. We've got takeaways at the table next door. You'll see how we expanded to match the district, and please come talk to us. We'll be happy to tell you what we're up to.
Thanks, Meg, and all you in the district are doing to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have Abigail Brewer with the Center for Large Landscape Conservation, a nonprofit established in 2009 that is governed by a board of 14 directors. With its founders working to advance conservation at the scale at which nature functions for over 2 decades, the Center for Large Landscape Conservation today serves as a hub for science and technical expertise, policy innovation, and collaboration to enhance ecological connectivity with projects and partners in Montana, across our region, the nation, and around the world. So with that, I will turn it over to Abigail.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. It's really nice to be here this evening and have a chance to speak with more of you. We're a nonprofit based in Bozeman, so appreciate all the chances we have to spread the word about our work that we do and what we're trying to do from where we are a little bit further up the road to this area with you this evening. So our work is to conserve migration corridors, both in Montana and around the world. And our reason for doing so is to conserve something that's called ecological connectivity. So that idea, ecological connectivity, underpins the processes that support all life, human as well as wildlife. It's clean air, water, pollination, climate resilience, intact habitat, and so much more that wildlife, and we too depend on, is the result of ecological connectivity. So while lions and elephants and elk aren't usually something that we think of in the same breath, for all of these species, the future isn't guaranteed unless we can find a way to act to conserve corridors that reach beyond parks. And those corridors include places where people live, like Big Sky. So in terms of wildlife, Montana really is the last best place. And this image shows just a few of the historic migrations that we all continue to enjoy. As growth continues, one of the barriers to ecological connectivity is our road system. Among other problems of more traffic are collisions with wildlife. And clearly that increase is a problem for wildlife migrations, as much as it's a problem for us too. So with the support of a number of collaborators at this forum, and certainly thank you to the Resort District as well as to the Moonlight Community Foundation, we are working on an assessment of problem spots along US 191 and also Lone Mountain Trail. The assessment is for terrestrial species, but also for fish too, since culverts can be a considerable barrier for fish passage. And to get this done, as well as we possibly can imagine, we are asking that you share your sightings. So we hope you'll find our booth here or search out our website so that you can enter your knowledge of wildlife use of this landscape. We have an interactive map online that's available on our website where you can put in what you know from historic just viewing, being around, and understanding the area where you are. And we also have a cell phone app that you can use as a citizen scientist as you travel. It works from cell phone GPS, so you don't have to have service, and allows you to record the locations of wildlife sightings as you're out and about. This image right here shows the collective sightings that community members have already recorded via the app. It's a data dashboard that is available on our website, and it's updated in real time with each new entry. So in the end, we will combine local sightings with public agency data and expert understanding and the information we get from you as a community in terms of what is most critical to you to synthesize the areas of best opportunity where we can make travel safer for people and wildlife too. So the US 191 and Lone Mountain Trail Wildlife and Transportation Assessment is an essential planning tool for Big Sky, and we invite each of you to participate actively. Thank you.
Thanks, Abigail, and for all you're doing to make Big Sky better together. Next up, we have Jen Moeller representing the Gallatin Invasive Species, a nonprofit established in 2004, governed by a board of 8 community members and natural resource experts. The Alliance facilitates a comprehensive, cost-effective, and successful campaign against invasive species in the Upper Gallatin watershed. Our project area encompasses some of the most ecologically and economically important resources in the state, providing vital habitat and water for plants, wildlife, and the people who live and recreate in the area. The Alliance works to address and mitigate the impacts of human activity upon natural resources to ensure that what we love so much about this place is not destroyed by our pursuit to experience it. With that, I'll turn it over to Jen.
So this curve should look familiar to you. It's the curve medical experts use to educate and motivate public to flatten the curve. We're used to it. But in this case, it illustrates the invasion process. The two curves parallel the importance of prevention, early detection, and rapid response. John Councilman, U.S. Forest Service retired, said, "Resource managers everywhere recognize that invasive species are the biggest threat to the integrity and function of the terrestrial and aquatic environments. I've never seen a landscape recover from the introduction of invasive species. Yellowstone National Park considers invasive species the second biggest threat behind climate change, And the introduction of invasive species has been the primary cause of plant and animal extinctions over the past 500 years. Dr. Doug Tellamy calls invasive plants are ecological tumors that leave your yard. And so what is driving invasive species to spread and proliferate? People. Big Sky is 50,000 acres surrounded by wilderness and national forests and experiencing death by 1,000 cuts. Every road cut is an avenue for invasive species introduction. Every house built is a point source for invasive species spread. Every landscape that's installed with non-native plants and non-native lawn is habitat that's lost to wildlife and has zero ecological value. It's basically a food desert. So why do native plants matter? Because they are the foundation of all ecosystems and provide critical ecosystem services. They provide the oxygen we breathe, they filter our water, they build our soils, and are the fundamental basis for all life on Earth. Over the past 50 years, North America has lost more than 1 in 4 birds, and populations of insects have declined by 75%. Plants form the critical base for the food chain. It's the first trophic level, that should look familiar, provide the energy that sustains all life on Earth. Insects are the second trophic level, and they're considered the little thing that runs the world, in part because of their role of transforming energy from plants to other animals. So where am I going? 90% of insects have developed specialized relationships with native plants. They can't adapt to eating other plants. So if native plants are systematically eliminated from our area via development that is converting native landscapes to foreign ecosystems, the insect population crashes. With that, bird population crashes, and so on. Basically, it's all connected. So the take-home message is that unless our community commits to both flattening the curve of invasive species and conserving native ecosystems, our ecosystem as we know it is not going to function as well. So we are working hard to address that, both in the invasive species and the native plant sides. Our education and outreach program promotes clean recreation efforts, Play Clean Go and Clean Drain Dry. We host and participate in community education events and classes, and we built a native demonstration at Crail Ranch. So this is really important. While one person, it's hard to feel like you can make a difference regarding climate change, the extinction crisis, I can choose what I put in my landscape. And every plant matters. And the white-crowned sparrow that nested and reared her young in our garden this year proves it. Our environmental stewardship program includes a bighorn sheep winter range project, so the herd of bighorn that you see all the time, that's critical winter range, and we've been working for 10 years to battle invasive species. On that hill, our Conserve Our Canyon, we partner with National Forests to manage weeds on heavily used public lands such as trailheads, fishing access sites, and river restoration sites. Our Habitat Owners Association project, we assist HOAs in managing invasive species in open space, which are critical corridors for wildlife, as their habitat continues to be fragmented by development. We provide free landowner assistance. So anyone with land in our service area can call me up and I come out and provide information, tools and resources to address invasive plants using best management practices and adaptive strategies. We host community weed pulls. In 13 years, 1,300 volunteers have collected nearly 20,000 pounds of noxious weeds from public lands. We're working now to build capacity to meet growing threats. And we are looking to build an education trailer to help educate and inspire the community to stop invasive species. We thank Resort Tax for all your support. We thank our community for helping pull 20,000 pounds of noxious weeds. And we invite you all to help us protect the incredible resources that make this place so special. Thanks.
Show of hands, who's learned something new tonight? I sure hope we see a couple of hands. How about a lot of new things, because we are well over halfway through. We've gone through 122 slides. Good job, everyone, and thank you for providing the community with this information. Next up, we've got Kristin Gardner with the Gallatin River Task Force, a nonprofit that was established in 2000 and is governed by a board of 11 directors. The Gallatin River Task Force is a local nonprofit headquartered in Big Sky that brings diverse stakeholders together to ensure the health of the Gallatin and our drinking water aquifers. Scientific data is the foundation that builds our priorities to repair, restore, and protect the waters of Big Sky. With that, I'll turn it over to Kristin.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny, and thank you, Resort Tax team. This has been a really fun evening so far. So the Gallatin River Task Force is a watershed group. It's one of 60 in Montana that works in a specific area in a collaborative manner on water issues. And so our specific area, we oversee over 700 stream miles in the Upper Gallatin, starting with the headwaters in Yellowstone National Park, all the way down to the Spanish Creek confluence. Our program priorities include water data collection, which really guides all of our work, and that guides work in stream restoration, our advocacy work. Also, we've dabbled in water and wastewater management as of recently, and that's because really water and wastewater management influences the health of our rivers more than almost anything else in our community. But tonight I really wanted to highlight some of the major accomplishments that our community has had in water. And we led some of these projects, but these projects were really collaborative projects that we worked on with many partners in our community. And I'm really, really proud of all the work that's been done with water in Big Sky over the last year, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. So we'll start here and hopefully we continue that conversation. But so over the last year, the task force led 2 large-scale restoration projects, one on the Middle Fork and one on the Gallatin that we just completed, the last one this fall. The Water and Sewer District has started construction on a wastewater treatment plant that will clean water to the level where we can actually use it to benefit the river. You heard from the Gallatin Canyon Water and Sewer District. That was a project that we helped lead. Over 10 years of work trying to get a district formed in the canyon to clean up the septic systems that are very close to the river, and then also plan for that future development. And so we're really hoping to see this district expand to really clean up all of those septic systems that are close to the river. Senator Chester introduced the Montana's Headwater Legacy Act, huge accomplishment, another project we've been working on for over 10 years. And that would designate 39 miles of the Upper Gallatin and 17 miles of the Taylor Fork as wild and scenic. So we're hoping to get that across the finish line this year and have President Biden sign that into law. And then finally, the Yellowstone Club, they obtained the first permit of its kind to recycle wastewater as snow, another huge benefit to our watershed, to be storing treated, clean wastewater up in our headwaters where it can infiltrate and then transport to the river in times that it needs it most, like in the late summer and the early fall, to deal with conditions like we saw this summer, that really drought and those low stream flows. So yeah, we accomplished a ton this year. I'm super proud, and thank you for all the partners in this room that played a part of that. But there is a lot of work to do to really address the water issues that I think our community is going to see in the future. Primarily, we have a growing community faster than I think any of us anticipated. That is, using water, the drinking water supply is limited. We don't have upstream to get water. We're in the headwaters. So the growing community is definitely going to be a threat. And then also on top of that are the predicted changes of climate change. And so that's really gonna also create more pressure on our water supply. So those two combined are some really big issues that we're gonna have to tackle as a community, and hopefully we can be proactive like we've been in the examples that I shared with you earlier. And then lastly, if you wanna get involved in water in Big Sky, we have an opportunity for you here at the Wilson on December 9th from 5 to 7 p.m. And we will be talking about some of these water wins that we've accomplished in Big Sky. And then we want to hear your input and thoughts on where our priorities should go in the future. We have some some of our own ideas, but we really want to hear from our community, and we want you to get engaged, get involved, because we can't do this alone. We really need your help. So thank you so much, and I hope to talk to you all at some point tonight or in the future on December 9th.
Thanks for all you do to make Big Sky better together. Last up on recreation and conservation, we have Jesse Weiss with the Montana Land Reliance, a nonprofit that was established in 1973, governed by a board of 12 directors. The Montana Land Reliance partners with private landowners to permanently protect agricultural lands, fish and wildlife habitat, and open space. The lasting benefits of Montana Land Reliance's work are the perpetuation of a lifestyle and an economy that rely on responsibly managed private lands and increasingly valuable Montana open spaces that will continue to nourish the spirit of future generations. Montana Land Reliance opened an office in Big Sky in 2016 and has conserved over 26,000 acres within or adjacent to the BizRad district. With that, I'll turn it over to Jesse.
Thank you so much. And thank you for gathering us as well, and to all of the community partners that are here. It's really nice to see all of you. So as Danny mentioned, the Montana Land Reliance is a conservation organization. We are a statewide organization. Here I have put up a fairly busy slide to start the conversation, but I thought it might be an interesting way to look at the cumulative impact of just our organization's conservation efforts around the state. So MLR protects through conservation easements, open space, wildlife habitat, waterways, and local food all over Montana. We have had an office here since 2016. And I like to think of conservation easements as foundational to all other conservation efforts because it allows land to stay intact, which then minimizes noxious weed spreading, wastewater development issues, those kinds of things. So on this slide, it got crunched a little bit, but we have completed 931 conservation easements in Montana and protected over 1.2 million acres. And what you're seeing here on the statewide map is the blue dots are all conservation easement properties. And anything that you're seeing in the green, like the darker green there, is national forest land. So there's also 60 million acres of private land that's not protected in Montana. One of the things that we do as an organization is really focus on minimizing what we call the postage stamp approach to conservation, and 80% of our easements are within 5 miles of other existing easements. So we definitely have a lot of community conservation, and that's one of the reasons that our organization has been successful. Okay, we can. So what we're working on right now, in Big Sky in particular, we are working on protecting key wildlife corridors, large tracts of open space, and high elevation areas where we know that there's important habitat, as well as headwaters, wetlands, and other waterways. We already have protected over 26,000 acres in or adjacent to the resort tax boundary. One of the areas that's near the resort tax boundary and is a success story of ours is the area basically from Moonlight all the way down to Ennis Lake is protected in conservation easement. And the reason that this matters a lot is that there's 2 wildernesses that Big Sky sits within, essentially. And this allowed for a bridge for wildlife to be able to move back and forth across those 2 wilderness areas. So why does it matter now? Why did we open an office here in Big Sky? In the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, there's incredibly intense development taking place. We all see it here, but it's happening all over the region that there's growth records being broken. There's obvious impacts on the landscape to both animals, waterway, at times the human population. The greater Yellowstone ecosystem is the last large intact ecosystem in North America. It can be easy to forget how close we are to Yellowstone National Park and what a unique and incredibly special place that we get to call home. It really is. Just in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem, 1.3 million acres have already been converted to development, and there's an expected 14% growth rate coming in the next 10 years. In Gallatin County alone, in the last 25 years, nearly 100,000 acres were converted from open space to what we call sprawl, which are large lot residential subdivisions, so 10 acres or more. So the demand is incredibly high right now to consider supporting organizations that help protect both public and private land. Private land functions as a very important connection point for a lot of the animals and waterways that we love to experience and enjoy. So thank you for your support and for your interest in conservation in Big Sky, and I am in the other room.